In the heart of Fort Worth, Texas, lived Elizabeth Arellano, a woman whose life was a beacon of hope and resilience. A devoted mother of four, Elizabeth balanced her demanding role as a medical assistant with the joys and challenges of raising her children. Her days were a whirlwind of activity, from preparing breakfasts to bandaging scraped knees, and from administering vaccines at work to helping with homework at night. At home, Elizabeth was the heart of her family, her laughter often filling the air, her hands always busy, whether flipping pancakes or folding laundry. At the clinic, she was equally indispensable, known for her gentle touch and the comforting words she offered her patients. Her life, by all accounts, revolved around caring for others, a testament to her deep capacity for love and empathy. Yet not all was perfect in Elizabeth's world. Her marriage to Rudy started with smiles and shared dreams. But as years passed, the smiles faded, replaced by tension that thickened the air. Rudy's controlling nature began to weigh heavily on Elizabeth, casting long shadows over their shared moments. Conversations turned into confrontations, and what was once a partnership slowly crumbled into a battleground. Determined to seek a happier, healthier life for herself and her children, Elizabeth made the brave decision to file for divorce. It was a step towards freedom, but also the beginning of a deeply troubling chapter. But beneath the surface of this seemingly content life, a storm was brewing, one that would change everything. As tensions rose, Elizabeth made a courageous decision that would set her on a tragic path. In a bid to reclaim her independence, she decided to file for divorce from Rudy, her husband of many years. This was not a decision made lightly. Elizabeth had endured years of control and diminishing self-esteem. Yet, in this act of defiance, she saw a glimmer of hope for a new beginning, a life where her voice could finally be heard. The action of seeking a divorce sent ripples through her already turbulent relationship. Rudy's behavior grew increasingly unpredictable, and Elizabeth found herself navigating a maze of intimidation and fear. She confided in friends that she feared for her safety, her anxiety palpable and growing each day. Her once stable environment at home had turned into a ground of silent battles and unspoken threats. Little did Elizabeth know her quest for freedom would lead to unimaginable consequences. April 16, 2016, a date that would forever be etched in the memory of Elizabeth's loved ones. On this seemingly ordinary Saturday, Elizabeth Arellano had plans to meet friends for a late lunch, a small respite from her recent stresses. However, Elizabeth never arrived at the restaurant, and soon worry began to cloud what was initially thought to be a mere delay. Calls to her cell phone went unanswered, each ring heightening the anxiety among her friends and family. As the sun dipped below the horizon, her brother, driven by a growing unease, decided to trace Elizabeth's usual routes. It was then, in the dimming light, that he discovered her car. Parked on a secluded street not far from Lake Worth, the vehicle was oddly silent, the driver's door ajar. Inside, her purse and phone lay untouched, an eerie tableau of sudden departure. The police were alerted immediately, and the area became a flurry of blue lights and urgent voices. Search teams were dispatched, canvassing the nearby woods and paths, calling out for Elizabeth, hoping for a response. Meanwhile, her family huddled together, grappling with the myriad possibilities, each more frightening than the last. As hours turned into days, hope dwindled and a chilling truth emerged. Elizabeth's disappearance wasn't just a case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. It was something far more sinister, a prelude to a grim discovery that would shake the community to its core. The tranquility of Lake Worth was shattered by a horrifying discovery. Early morning joggers stumbled upon a chilling scene. Submerged in the murky waters, the body of Elizabeth Arellano was found, a grim testament to a brutal end. Her life, once filled with the joy of her children and the bustle of a busy medical practice, was cut short in the most violent manner imaginable. Elizabeth's body was weighed down by a concrete block, a cold, calculated act to ensure it would remain hidden beneath the lake's surface. The news spread like wildfire, sending shockwaves through the heart of Fort Worth. Friends, family, and even strangers were engulfed in grief and disbelief. How could such a vibrant life be extinguished in such a cruel way? The community rallied together, their sorrow mingled with a growing demand for justice. As the investigation unfolded, the pieces of a dark puzzle began to align, directing a spotlight onto an unlikely suspect. The quest for justice began, as the evidence pointed to an unlikely suspect. As investigators pieced together the puzzle, a picture of betrayal and premeditated malice took shape. The disappearance of Elizabeth Arellano seemed to unravel more mysteries than it solved initially. However, As the police dug deeper, the clues started aligning, pointing unwaveringly towards one individual: Rudy, Elizabeth's estranged husband. The investigation was meticulous. Law enforcement officers scoured through hours of CCTV footage, which eventually captured Rudy's vehicle traveling towards Lake Worth on the night of Elizabeth's disappearance. Additionally, phone records became a crucial piece of evidence. These records placed Rudy near the lake at the time Elizabeth was believed to have been pushed into its dark waters. It was as if the digital footprints were narrating the grim tale themselves. With the amassed evidence, Rudy was arrested. The trial that followed was a heart-wrenching spectacle. The courtroom was heavy with grief and palpable tension as Elizabeth's family took the stand. One by one, they testified, not just about the events leading to her tragic end, but about who Elizabeth was, a vibrant soul whose absence left a void in their lives. The emotional apex of the trial came when the prosecution presented the video footage showing Rudy's car near the scene. It was a silent yet damning testimony against him. The defense's attempts to counter the evidence seemed frail against the mounting factual narrative presented by the state. Rudy, facing overwhelming evidence, pleaded guilty. He was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. The judge's gavel fell heavy, echoing through the courtroom, a somber sound marking the end of a painful chapter for Elizabeth's family and friends. Justice may be served, but the scars remain forever. The community and Elizabeth's family were left to grapple with the reality of her absence, forever pondering the cruelty of fate that took her from them. The trial was over, but the journey of healing was just beginning, a path fraught with memories and what-ifs. Elizabeth Arellano's life was more than its tragic end. It was a testament to undying love and resilience. As we reflect upon the legacy left behind by this remarkable woman, we see the indelible imprint she made as a devoted mother and cherished community member. Elizabeth's life, brimming with challenges, was nevertheless a beacon of hope and strength to all who knew her. Her story, while deeply personal, resonates on a universal scale, shedding light on the pervasive issue of domestic violence. Elizabeth's courage in seeking a new beginning, despite the risks, stands as a powerful testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Her tragic fate underscores the vital need for awareness and stronger protective measures for individuals in similar circumstances. In the wake of her untimely death, the community has rallied to honor Elizabeth's memory in meaningful ways. Vigils have been held, not just as a tribute, but as a public pledge against domestic violence. Scholarships have been established in her name, aimed at supporting single mothers striving to create better futures for themselves and their children. These initiatives reflect a collective commitment to transform a narrative of tragedy into one of empowerment and prevention. Moreover, her story has sparked conversations on a larger scale, inspiring legislative pushes for stricter laws on domestic abuse and better support systems for victims. Elizabeth's life story, marked by both joy and sorrow, acts as a catalyst for change, urging society to recognize and address the shadows that lurk behind closed doors. As we remember Elizabeth, we are reminded of the fragility of life and the profound impact of our actions on others. Her legacy is not defined by how she died, but by how she lived, with immense love, unwavering courage, and the hope that her children would live in a kinder world. In memory of Elizabeth, we find not just sorrow, but also the strength to fight for justice and cherish every moment. Today, we remember Elizabeth Arellano, not just for how she died, but for how she lived. A beacon of resilience and hope, Elizabeth's life was tragically cut short in an act of unspeakable violence. Yet, her story is not defined by its tragic end, but by the strength and love she embodied throughout her life. Elizabeth was a devoted mother, a caring medical assistant, and a woman of unyielding spirit. Her life reminds us of the profound impact one individual can have and the cruel reality of domestic violence that lurks behind closed doors. The justice served in her case, while a solace, reminds us of the need for vigilance and support for those in similar situations. Let us honor Elizabeth's memory by supporting victims of domestic violence and by standing up against injustice in our communities. If you or someone you know is in a similar situation, seek help. There are numerous resources available to provide support and safety. Thank you for joining us in remembering Elizabeth Arellano. Stay safe, stay vigilant, and remember, justice prevails.